President Putin has confirmed some of Russia's tactical nuclear weapons have left the country for the first time since the end of the Soviet Union and are now stationed in neighbouring Belarus. The US says it's watching developments closely, but says there's no indication the Kremlin plans to use them. Here's our North America correspondent David Willis.
Vladimir Putin initially announced his intention to transfer tactical nuclear weapons to Belarus back in March, and addressing an economic forum in St. Petersburg, he said the first such transfer had now taken place, and he expected all those tactical nuclear weapons to be in place in Belarus by the end of the summer. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union back in 1991, all such weapons were returned by member countries to Moscow. So this represents the first time they've gone in the opposite direction in almost 30 years. Belarus is, of course, a key ally of Russia and served as a staging ground for Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year. But Vladimir Putin has also been at pains to point out that these weapons will be used in self-defense if Russia's territorial integrity or indeed its very existence is put at risk. And here in Washington, D.C., the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken was also at pains to play down any possibility of a nuclear confrontation.
With regard to the reports about Belarus, we've seen comments that were made in the last few hours. We'll continue to monitor the situation very closely and very carefully. We have no reason to adjust our own nuclear posture. We don't see any indications that Russia is preparing to use a nuclear weapon. The President said again this week that we remain committed to the defense of NATO, every inch of its territory.
Such short-range tactical nuclear weapons are generally intended for a limited strike and one that doesn't cause widespread radioactive fallout. But nonetheless, they can also be very powerful. And earlier this week, Belarus's president, Alexander Lukashenko, said he had already received weapons that he claimed were 3 times more powerful than the atomic bombs that were dropped on Japan at the end of the Second World War.
That was our North America correspondent David Willis there.